Finally, I'm working with fabric that isn't muslin. It's time to cut the actual fabric I'll be using for the dress. And here she is! I didn't want just plain matte black fabric. I wanted something with a little bit more going on to match the extraness of the rest of the dress, a little sparkle, if you will. And with all 3 pieces cut out, it's time to sew them all together. I made sure to do a test run on my sewing machine using a scrap piece of the fabric to make sure the thread tension and my thread length and width were good to go, and if I needed to make any changes. Thankfully, I didn't. So off we go to the machine. And again, I made sure to go slow and take my time. And with that, the front half of the base part of the dress is all sewn together, which means she is ready to be embellished. AKA, she's ready for the trims to be sewn on. I couldn't find any of the trims that I wanted in pink, so I just got the trims that I wanted in white, or in the third one's case, light pink, and dyed them the shade of pink that I wanted, using synthetic Rit dye in super pink, but I also got the all-purpose Rit dye just in case. And when doing something like this, always make sure to check the fiber content of your trim. This will help you figure out whether you need to use synthetic Rit dye, all-purpose Rit dye, or both. And then I just prepared the dye bath according to the instructions on the bottle. And I only put a little bit in there, because the more dye you put into the dye bath, the more saturated your color will end up being. I then chopped off a piece of each of my trims and put them into the dye bath as a test swatch. And the first trim came out the perfect shade of pink I needed on the first try, so I went on ahead and dyed that, and it came out beautifully. This trim, however, what I like to call the thick boy trim, took a couple more tries though, including adding in a little bit of red synthetic Rit dye in order to cancel out that purple base. And once I was able to dye and color match all 3 of them, and they all laid out to dry, they came out so beautiful. Oh my goodness, guys. These are gonna look so pretty! And here is a before and after picture. On the left, you can see what they looked like before the dye bath, and on the right, you can see what they looked like after. And with that all done, now we move on to finally starting the beautiful detailed facade on the front of Draculaura's dress, which we shall be covering in the next episode. I'm so excited, guys. It's finally starting to look like something. So be sure to stay tuned.